Huawei's latest smartwatch is here, the Watch GT3, with some big improvements over the previous gen. We've got now GPS tracking that does see a lot more satellites. It's supporting up to 5 different systems and dual carrier frequency. The heart rate monitoring, there's a big area of improvement. They've doubled the amount of sensors on the underside of the watch. So instead of having 4 sensors like the Watch 3 and the Watch 3 Pro, it now incorporates 8. It has a new nano coating, improved AI accuracy. This one that I've got is the stainless steel version. It's the 46mm model, and we have that same great battery life, up to 8 days of heavy use and 14 with lighter use. The watch comes in the box really nicely presented. So obviously I've got the stainless steel version here with the strap, and I'll show you that in detail, but it is stunning, that watch. So here on the side, you will find a little pouch that you open up. They do include this right here, which is a package with some extra links there. So if what they have already on the strap, the stainless steel strap here, is too small for you, then you can add a few more additional links there to it. Our wireless charger, so of course it does charge wirelessly, just like the Watch 3. And here a little bit of paperwork in various different languages. What you'll find in the first page there is just a QR code to scan, and that is how you then get the quick start guide for it. But it's very basic. Got to pair it up to the application Huawei Health, and I will be going through that app. So there's nothing else in there. Let's take a look now at the design of this watch, but first, how it wirelessly charges. It uses magnets to hold the Qi wireless charger in place. So the little pad right here, you simply place it underneath, and then it clips on and will start to charge. Now, charge time is approximately about an hour with this watch. So an excellent design from Huawei with this watch. It is just as good as their other models, if not better. I really do like the stainless steel finish they've gone with. Now, I do also still have, of course, the Watch 3. Now, that's the titanium one. Now, the titanium ends up looking a little bit more dirty, but it really depends on what is your style, what you do prefer. Titanium is very nice here, but I find, of course, it just gets a little dirtier looking and harder to maintain and keep clean, whereas the stainless steel, I think, just looks a lot better. So what they've done with the finish on the links here, which is exquisite, by the way, the craftsmanship on this is absolutely perfect. There's no flaws whatsoever with it, is they've given it this nice brushed look to it. And then around the outside frame, they've also brushed that too. So this is all that stainless steel. Now the links on these can be removed. Just the first 5 links there you can take out from either side to try and get your size there, of course. The buckle here, that clips in really nice. And again, we've got that nice brushed look to it. The Huawei branding right there. And very good. The workmanship on this is just spot on there. Great. So the screen. We still have that same 466 by 466. This is 1.43 inches. It is an AMOLED screen, okay, and very bright with scratch-resistant glass over the top of it. Now, the links here, of course, you can change the strap by just pressing on the back there, and you're able to just pull that right out then. Now, do be careful with this. That scratch I have on my thumb, that was not actually my cat Vera, which can sometimes happen. That was me just removing the strap on this one with the titanium. I ended up scratching myself right on the corner with it. So yeah, just be careful with that. So here on the back, big changes. They've gone with now upgraded heart rate sensor. This is the big move they've gone for, the big change here compared to the previous model, which is the Watch 3. You can clearly see with the Watch 3 there, we have those 4 little tiny rectangles, right? That's to do with the optics there, the sensor, and the way it measures the movement of your blood. And now we have 8, so they've doubled the sensors. They've gone now with a new coating, nano coating on the back of it here too. So that means it's going to be a lot more accurate, the heart rate monitoring from it. And you see the difference there too. So we've got ceramic on the back here with the Watch 3 and the titanium. More premium materials. It is a more premium watch, that one. But then the upgrade here too with this. And side on, you can see there that it is very thin. So this is only 11 millimeters, which is great. And then on the other side there, you can see we've got our little dial and the buttons, the 2 buttons. So just like the Watch 3. So tapping this, you can then get it into your apps, and if you scroll it, you can zoom in and out there with all those different apps. Now, the UI performance and fluidity of this, it's very smooth. It's nothing like what the Watch 2 GT was like, which was just a little bit laggy. So this one here, we've got the 32 gigabytes of RAM, I think it is. They're using that same Kirin chipset and Harmony OS with this Model 2. So the button at the bottom here, tapping that will get me into all those different sports and workout modes. But just to say again, on the build quality of this, very good. I really do like it. It is flawless, the finish, and I really like the look of the stainless steel strap. What about the weight? Well, it's very similar to that of my Watch 3 because that one has the titanium, and this with the stainless steel strap is 117 grams. But overall, I like the feel of this one on my wrist because it is slimmer. So here it is, the titanium with the Watch 3, and that's lighter, of course, using the titanium strap. Now remember, the straps are interchangeable. You can get silicone straps, leather straps as well if you wanted something a little bit lighter, or if you didn't want the stainless steel strap all the time, you can swap it out so when you start to do something like sports or whatever, use the silicone. So let me just run through now some of the basic settings and the apps and bits and pieces we have with this watch. So if you flick your wrist, it will turn on automatically. Now I've already just set it to be on for 5 minutes now for the purposes of this video. But when you have the screen on more, of course it chews through the battery a bit more. So this is our menu system. It does feel very fast, fluid, and you've got all your different apps through there that you can go through and control. Now I wanted to show you some of the settings, but first with this, if you swipe from the left to the right, when you're in an app, that's to go back, okay, out of the app. But I can just bring that, tap that, go back home to our watch faces here, which you're able to adjust. So if you tap and hold, you can go through and cycle through these different watch faces, which is great, depending on your mood or what you're doing. For example, you're training, you want a more sports-orientated watch face, you can do that. Going out to dinner with someone, you want something that looks more traditional watch face there, like an analog watch. That's the one that is stock, by the way, this one here. That's why I'm showing it a little bit more, which I actually do like. I think it's quite a good one, but you want something that's versatile there. So we can even see the pressure, we can see calories, heart rate, and various information there like steps too. You can configure this and change that too. So if you want the settings, you just swipe down from the top, and again, it's fast, it's fluid, and you can go through all of this. Now the toggle for the screen on, I have turned on. You've got alarms, do not disturb mode, find my phone, which is actually rather handy. I'm someone that's a bit clumsy sometimes with where I place my phone. So pressing this now, I should hear my Huawei Nova 9.
I'm here.
I'm here. So it's telling me where my phone is. And trust me, that actually does come in handy if you're forgetful like me where you put things down. So in settings, there's a lot to go through, and I won't go through all of it here, obviously, because the video would be too long. But brightness, talk a little bit about that. Auto brightness with the ambient sensor, I find to be excellent, really good, no problems. It's just like the Watch 3 Pro that I've got. Sleep, you can change that. The screen on time and auto brightness, I tend to actually just leave that on, but I'll show you here, you can manually control that brightness too. So perhaps it's a little bit too bright for my video. You can turn it down just a fraction there. Okay, it's gone back. And then just swiping back. So those are all the display settings. You've got vibration, haptic feedback, pin you can set up. Smart Assistant, so it does have that on board. You can also hold down the bottom button right there to do that. And I'll demonstrate that right now, actually. So hold this down. What's the weather today? And there we go. It's going to give me the weather. You can issue all sorts of commands and do lots of things with that if you needed that, because the microphone's on board. Of course, it's going to be listening to all you're doing there. So other settings in here, well, pretty much straightforward. Your workout settings, the down button, you can assign that to something else. It's normally just always by default the workout. I actually prefer that system updates about your firmware, pairing it up, things like that. So the apps that we've got, there's a lot on board here, as you can see. And again, I'm not going to go through them all. So we've got our temperature sensor there. We have our sleep monitoring too. You can look at that information, but I'll go through the application to show you a lot of this anyway. Our workouts, so that's just advising us our basic fitness summary there of the day. All sorts of things. You've got breathing exercises. You've got your alarm clock you can set up, stopwatch. There's even a compass, okay? And once you calibrate it, it does seem to work quite well. You move that around, you see. Now you do need to have the watch strap on quite tight for these to work properly. So first test out my oxygen saturation levels. You can see I've had it on now for a few days. It's been monitoring that. Last time was 20 minutes ago. So measure it. Now this can take a little bit. So let's just skip ahead because it sometimes can be up to about a minute to measure this. There we go. So 95%, that was not even a minute. It took 30 seconds. So it is faster than the Watch 3 Pro that I do have. So the heart rate monitor, go into that. And that's pretty obvious which one that is. You can see there, heart. It's been monitoring that. And why is there a big gap there? Well, that's because I've been taking the watch off. I've been filming B-roll and I've been recording this stuff here. So currently at 59:60, I'm only just sitting down and talking, so that is normal. But I will test it out later on when I show you the application. And there's also this, which is our skin temperature sensor. To get the accurate reading here, though, you should be wearing it for at least 10 minutes. So take a look at that. So you can see it's giving me a graph of the previous readings there. Maximum was 35.5 and the lowest was 28. Now that 28 was when I wasn't even wearing the watch, I think, when it did end up measuring that. So that's why it's dropped right down, not accurate again, because I haven't been continually wearing it as I'm filming it right now. And finally, to show you the workouts on the watch here, you can add more, you can tweak and customize a lot of them too, and through the application you can also do this. So tapping the bottom button, easiest way to get into this. Workout settings, so this is to do with the broadcasts we get, which are very handy. So when you're running, it will tell you how long you've been running for, your distance, your heart rate, and that's really good. And then how much you've climbed. All that information I do find very handy. You can set the volume for that. You could also set the display to also be always on when you're doing the workouts, but I wouldn't do that because it kills the battery a lot more. But hey, it depends if you need that information constantly there. Otherwise, you can simply just tap the button to see it when you're doing your workout. So what about the workouts? What do we have? We've got a custom workout here. We have other, rower, elliptical, triathlon, cross-country, skiing, snowboarding even, and jump rope, trail run, hiking, mountain hiking, pool swim, open, water, indoor cycling, indoor walk, indoor run, and then there are those running courses and plans. You can do it through the watch itself or the app. And now time to test out the GPS tracking and the heart rate monitor. I'm just going to go for a short mountain bike ride. And what about in direct sunlight? How visible is it? It looks worse than what the watch is showing it there. That banding you're seeing, that's just on camera. Now the first GPS lock was extremely quick, especially compared to the Watch 3 Pro I own. And you can see just like the other models there, we've got all our workout information. So that short ride, I'm just going to start now and we'll see the results we get. And here's our application. So this runs on Android and also iOS for you Apple users out there. Currently, I'm running it on the Huawei Nova 9. Now, I have a review of this new release from them, so check the channel for that. But it summarizes all your information in here. We've got little widgets that we can change. So I've got skin temperature, stress monitoring. There's the oxygen saturation level there too. Okay, it monitors that. My sleep. So let's have a look first at the GPS tracking. That workout that I just did before, you can see the results of that right in here. So it shows you the map, the different points there. You've got your speed chart. Heart rate's the interesting one. So any areas where it's dropped off very quick or looks a little funny there, that was because the watch was a little bit loose and I had to tighten it up. But once it was tight, especially on the climb there with the elevation, you can see I got my heart rate to peak at 170. Now I have checked this and compared it with a Polar chest strap heart rate monitor, and it seems pretty spot on. So the heart rate monitoring now, because I've increased the sensor count from 4 to 8, the new AI algorithm they've got with it, and the nano coating, still the glass on the back of it where the sensors are, it seems to be a lot faster. And the GPS, certainly I noticed that straight away with GPS, that when I turned the watch on, started that workout, that it got a lock so quick. It would normally take, could be a little bit slow on the other models, and it's so much quicker now, it's really just like a phone. So a lot of information in there. You can see previous workouts. With this account, I've got another account, it's my personal one. This is basically one for just the channel here. Your weight, you can monitor that, of course. Sleep tracking. So I think it's pretty accurate because I was up a few times. We've got one of my young girls has a bit of a cough at the moment, so we're always up and down and sorting them out. So not a very good night's sleep. The other day of tracking too as well. You can go over and just change the days. Again, even worse, like 5 hours. Well, tech YouTubers were up really late. Yeah, that's kind of normal. And then you can see also in here, we've got our heart rate monitoring separate from that too. You've got your different exercise modes. So training modes too that you can go through. There's all these different courses for you for walking, for running, and you can cycle through that. Okay, all the different modes there. Cycling, discover. So if there's any activities, events and whatnot going on near you, that pops up in here too as well. Your devices, this is where you can get the firmware updates, change the watch faces, load on your music to the watch, okay, and you can connect up and hear your songs through that. And app gallery is where you can get the different applications and load them over onto the watch there. So yes, it does support the apps with Harmony OS, with Huawei, but it's not an Android Wear OS watch, so you can't use those apps on this, unfortunately. And finally, you've got your profile with all your information in there. So it's a fully featured app. And then you get notifications on the watch. You just go into the application and you select what notifications you actually want to see to pull through onto the watch. So any app you've got installed, basically, you can get then notifications that will be on the phone transferred over to the watch. You just need to have it connected up continuously via Bluetooth, like any other smartwatch. Battery life now on this is just like the predecessors. It is fantastic. So it goes for a long time. I'm losing at the moment 13% one day, 14% the next, and I'm still looking at the screen a lot. So I have to classify my use at the moment as heavy. Now they claim you should be able to get 8 days of heavy use, Huawei. Now if I disabled a few more things, so if I disabled the constant heart rate monitoring, or I turned off the SpO2 or the skin temperature monitor on this, then I would extend my battery life, of course. The less things that it's monitoring continually, the better the battery life is going to be. So if you start turning those things off, they claim 14 days that you should be able to squeeze out of this. 2 weeks, that's incredible. I know with the previous model that I've got still, the 2GT, sorry, I can go for a week without charging. And then the 3 Pro, it's got eSIM support on it. It's a lot less that battery life, even though it has a larger battery in it. So the big thing for me, the key takeaway here with the newer watch is that GPS support is so much better. It's seeing a lot more now different GPS systems out there. So not only just GPS itself, but then GLONASS, and you've got the Russian one, you've got the Chinese one, you've got 5 different groups now that it can see, and then the dual carrier frequency. The first initial lock when you go out to train is so quick compared to the previous models. The heart rate monitoring greatly improved, double the sensors that they have versus the older models. That's another key reason why you should probably go for this instead of the Watch 3 or the Watch 3 Pro for those improvements. The rest of the watch, the display, the operating system, the fluidity of it's quite fluid and smooth, is basically the same as the Watch 3 or the Watch 3 Pro. It's just those 2 big key improvements, and then some newer changes coming through with the application too, of course. So what other things then I don't like about this watch? Well, we don't have great third-party support with these, unfortunately. It does not support Wear OS, and notifications, we cannot reply to them either. So if you get a text message or a WhatsApp, you can see the notifications. You can go through and enable them to come through, all of those. The trouble is you cannot reply to it on the watch itself, which would have been great, but sadly, no, not there, okay? So there we go. That is Huawei's new Watch 3 GT. Thank you so much for watching my review. I do hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.